Like, dudes are really, Ben Shapiro is really on fucking Twitter right now, upset that a murderer cop, like, for the first time in fucking Minnesota history, was convicted guilty of murdering a black person, and this motherfucker's already upset. Like, dude, these people are such fucking clowns, dude. I wasn't gonna look for malding. I wasn't gonna look for fucking gray name takes, but it is so incredible. I'm gonna ratio this piece of shit, dude. Fucking asshole. I'll report you for self-harm for watching Shapipi's tweets. I just don't understand how you can be this fucking person. I don't understand how you can look to an instance where, like, you're supposed to uphold the criminal justice system, and, like, you're still looking for some shit. You're still looking for an opportunity. Do you think he'll ever read that? Oh no, Ben does read the tweets in response to him. He's just he 100% sees that shit. It's just that it is wild, dude. Absolutely fucking wild. Absolutely wild to me that he sees an instance like, I mean, you're so horny. You are so fucking horny. How horny can you get to see black people fucking suffer, dude? That, like, the one instance where like, it's so open and cut, and the justice system in all of its endless sea of inequalities and unjust actions turns around and, like, arrives at the fucking correct verdict, and he's still upset. Like, still upset. And don't forget, this is just one case, guys. This is one case. Think about all of the endless instances where the countless times where black people get fucking killed and it's not on camera, or the body camera footage is erased, or the body camera footage, there is no body camera footage to begin with because the leading officer in the case will just be like, turn off your fucking body camera before you do anything. Like, for justice to be served in this instance, it took numerous people trying to interfere. It took countless amounts of actual on the ground first-hand account eyewitnesses. Breonna Taylor never got justice. You know what I mean? And ultimately, it's not like George Floyd got justice either, because there is no justice when George Floyd is dead. Like, what is the fucking justice? It's not like he can get unmurdered. This is not justice. This is accountability. What happens next will be justice, depending on what happens next, depending on what comes after this. Then it could start to be justice. But we're not at justice yet. We're at accountability, okay? Steven Crowder is worried that police are going to quit the force. Expect more police to quit in the coming weeks. Motherfucker, if cops are quitting because they can't do murder, like brutal murder with their hands, then, like, those cops literally should not be on the police force. Like, good. murder with their bare hands. Why are you upset? There you go. Fuck you, Steven Crowder, you little bitch. Like, can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine? Can you fucking imagine looking at a situation like this and being like, the mob led by Democrats at the highest level successfully initiated the jury into getting the result they wanted before the trial started? Yeah, I'm not even touching Matt Walsh. Fuck that guy. He does not deserve. Look, Ben Shapiros is one thing. His fucking minions, I'm not going to waste time with. Like, motherfuckers in here don't even need to know. Like, these people should be embarrassed to have these opinions. They should be embarrassed or scared to be able to say things like this in public. Ben is always on the wrong side of history. Ahead of the trial for the murder of George Floyd, Ben Shapiro defends Derek Chauvin at length.
Also, the city of Minneapolis, they just backed off of a plan. They had an actual plan to hire social media influencers to combat misinformation during the Derek Chauvin trial. The reason for this, of course, is because we have seen many instances over the past year in which there will be rumors that go around about a particular incident involving police that are just not true, and people then riot based on those rumors. So we have seen that many times over the course of the last year, where there will be a text that goes out that somebody was shot unarmed, and it turns out not only were they not unarmed, they were threatening the police, but a riot starts anyway, because the facts do not matter in these particular cases. Now, the reason I bring this up is because it is a very bad situation. We are in a very bad situation in our country when only a verdict that a particular side of the political aisle likes results in peace, right? In other words, if Derek Chauvin gets convicted of second-degree murder, which I think is an overcharge, legally speaking, this looks more like third-degree murder to me, if that at all, right? Like, there's a better case for excessive force than either of those two. Frankly, I think that Chauvin has a fairly strong defense here. I mean, just on a legal level, put aside the morality of what Derek Chauvin did. Chauvin, on a legal level, is going to have a fairly strong defense here. And I'm just warning people about this right now, because the way the media are going to portray this is if Derek Chauvin gets off, then it's going to be because the system failed and your eyes are, you can trust your eyes when you watch that tape, but you can't trust the system.
Listen, this is before the trial, but the other thing I was going to say is, I'm fucking tweeting this too, so I'm sorry, spoiler alert, but conservatives should be embarrassed right now to look defeated in this moment. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a conservative and think that Derek Chauvin is a murderer. Like, I will literally say you can be a conservative and think that Derek Chauvin was a murderer. There are even conservatives who think Derek Chauvin is a murderer. I mean, fucking Pat Robertson was literally saying Derek Chauvin is bad. Now, obviously, the reasoning behind why he was saying that Derek Chauvin is bad was because he thought that, you know, it was riling up the blacks too much. But, you know, even when that motherfucker is on George Floyd's side, then holy shit, like, you should literally feel embarrassed or scared to openly admit your disdain or to look defeated in this moment. You should be embarrassed to look defeated in this moment, but some don't even have the decency to hide their disdain. Like, they are literally straight up, like, Ben Shapiros, Steven Crowder, motherfuckers, they don't even care. Like, they're just straight up like, I am upset. I am upset that a white cop murdered a black person, okay? And couldn't get away with it. I am mad. Like, what the fuck?
Derek Chauvin's defense is pretty straightforward here. His defense is going to be that George Floyd had enough fentanyl in him to kill a horse. Okay, that is going to be his claim. And there's going to be fairly good evidence for that. There was a medical autopsy done after George Floyd died. The medical examiner said explicitly that if George Floyd had been found dead in his house with that level of fentanyl in his blood, then he would have immediately declared it a drug overdose.
This is not even true, but
the medical examiner in that particular case
wrong
struggled to find evidence that the knee on the neck of George Floyd is what actually caused his death.
Wrong.
There's good video evidence from before the actual 8-minute clip that everybody has seen that George Floyd was acting in extraordinarily erratic ways, that he was resisting arrest, that he
does not matter.
Appeared to be suffering from a condition that is known in the police community as excited delirium, where people are high on drugs and then their heart rate starts to rise extremely fast. They start to act very, very erratic. And then if they have underlying health conditions in any way, then in certain instances, they die of that underlying health condition. The Minneapolis statutes with regard to police use of force do allow the kind of hold that Chauvin was using on George Floyd. George Floyd explicitly.
Also, the GG's. Wow. I think that's a bingo. I guess we could continue, but basically every part of this is just wrong. This is all before, by the way, just for the record.
He asked not to be put in the car. They tried to push George Floyd into the car. He said he wanted the windows open. They opened the windows for him. He then pushed his way out of the car. And then he said he wanted to be outside the car, at which point they held him down. And again, just medically speaking, if somebody says that they cannot breathe, if you can say that you can't breathe, that typically means that you can actually breathe. Right? What that means.
Literally wrong. Straight up wrong. That's not the truth at all. Holy shit. I am glad that Harvard-educated lawyer Ben Shapiros decided to not become a fucking trial lawyer and instead became a fucking charlatan grifter for the right, because turns out, like, what do you mean medically speaking? I want to understand, like, does Ben Shapiros believe that because his wife is a doctor that he, by osmosis, kind of like not dissimilar to Donald Trump, whose uncle was in MIT, understands the medical profession quite well? My wife is a doctor, after all. Therefore, I have the medical proficiency to speak as an expert on this regard. And no one can speak while they're being choked. This is the case. For example, if you're being waterboarded and you start making noises, that means you're technically not being waterboarded, medically speaking. This was all before the trial, I believe. So that's why he's like wrong on every fucking count. Medically speaking, if your wife's P word is wet, then you need a mop, and it is a medical disability.
Medically speaking, is that you're having a heart condition. Right? Very often when someone says they can't breathe, that is not because you are having a closure of the trachea, right? It's not about your neck being in some way pressured, right? There's no damage that was actually done to George Floyd's neck in the autopsy. So again, all of this is going to be what the defense is for Derek Chauvin, and they have to prove some level of intent by Chauvin, which is going to be super difficult. Right? The notion that you can say that this police officer came to kill that day, right, which is kind of what you have to say in a second-degree murder trial. First degree, like he fully intended to kill him, he wanted to do it. Second degree is reckless disregard, that he did it knowing that George Floyd might die. That's going to be hard to prove. Again, if they really wanted to get Chauvin, the best they could have done here, I think, is probably an excessive force charge. Now,
oh, that's really interesting. I too love watching Ben Shapiros, so I can be wrong on all accounts.
Maybe because of all the hubbub surrounding the trial, the jury decides to convict anyway because they don't want.
Like, dude, I mean, honestly, let me do this to Ben. Like, let me do what fucking Chauvin did to George Floyd to Ben Shapiros, if it's not like a serious thing. But here's the reality. If I were to say this out loud, like, motherfuckers could literally be like, he's threatening to harm me physically. Oh, okay, so you understand that it's like literally a felony level aggravated assault where you could end up murdering someone if you were to do that. You know what I mean? That's the inherent irony in how conservatives operate. Like, that's precisely why when Steven fucking Crowder, that asshole who turned around and tried to recreate the murder of George Floyd, the reckless disregard that they have for Black lives, by the way, holy shit. They're like taking it one step beyond murder porn and literally fucking reenacting the murder porn. When Steven Crowder was doing that, he didn't actually do the exact same thing that happened, right? He didn't. The reason why he couldn't do that is because he knows that if he were to do that, he could have fucking died, okay? Twitch posted, death of black people at the hands of the police has been an ever-present issue in American history. The events surrounding this recent trial are a grim reminder of how far we as a society still have to go for basic humanity of others to be valued and treated as sacred. Jesus Christ. Okay, Twitch. Good shit, Twitch.